Anchored faith, the power of resilience in life storms. Have you ever felt like you're drowning in plain sight? Like you're smiling through meetings, handling family responsibilities, checking all the boxes, while inside you're barely keeping your head above water? I recently had the profound privilege of interviewing Joy Brinson on the Soft Girl Era podcast. Her insights on resilience and faith weren't just thought provoking, they were soul shifting. Joy isn't just another voice in a crowded self help space. She's a revolutionary force who has helped thousands of women find their strength by first embracing their vulnerability. Her work creates ripples of transformation that extend far beyond individual lives into communities, workplaces, and generations to come. As I sat across from Joy, I was struck by her remarkable ability to embody both softness and strength simultaneously, a living testament to what happens when we anchor ourselves in something greater than our circumstances. Her eyes held the kind of wisdom that only comes from walking through fire and emerging not just intact, but illuminated. What Joy shared wasn't just information, it was revelation, the kind that shifts something deep within you and makes you question whether you've been approaching life's challenges all wrong, the kind that wakes you up at 3 a.m. with the startling clarity that perhaps strength looks nothing like what you've been taught. Three powerful truths emerged from our conversation that I simply cannot keep to myself. These aren't just nice ideas, they're lifelines for anyone who feels overwhelmed, undervalued, or simply exhausted from carrying too much for too long. First, your faith is your anchor, not a casual Sunday morning kind of faith, but the deep, unshakable trust that holds you steady when everything else is crumbling. Joy emphasized that no matter how intense or overwhelming your circumstances become, trusting in God provides a foundation that cannot be shaken. She described faith not as a magic solution that makes problems disappear, but as the unseen hand that holds you when you feel like you're falling. Second, resilience isn't about avoiding hardship, it's about rising each time you fall. Every setback, whether emotional, physical, or spiritual, can be transformed into a stepping stone for growth. Resilience, Joy explained, is less like armor and more like a muscle. It grows stronger only when tested. And third, your story has power. By sharing your journey openly, including both the pain and triumph, you empower others to find hope in their darkest moments. Your vulnerability becomes someone else's roadmap through their wilderness. These aren't just pretty words, they're battle tested truths. Let me share with you the story of Dr. Kata Joy Ductant, a leadership coach known for mentoring Black professionals and entrepreneurs through challenging seasons. As a Black woman leader in predominantly white industries, Dr. Kata faced systemic barriers that would have stopped many in their tracks. While building her business empire, she encountered personal setbacks that tested not just her business acumen, but her very spirit. There was a moment, she shares this openly now, when she sat on the floor of her office after losing a major client and wondered if she had made a terrible mistake leaving her secure corporate position. The doubt was deafening, the fear paralyzing. What did she do? She leaned into her faith practices, daily prayer and affirmation, and sought mentorship within her community. Instead of seeing setbacks as reasons to quit, she transformed them into learning opportunities. I decided, she says, that my failures would become footnotes in my success story, not the final chapter. The result? She became CEO of Success Uncensored, was featured on OWN Network and Fox, and now coaches others through similar adversity. But her journey began long before these accolades. She grew up navigating spaces where she was often underestimated, but learned early that resilience rooted in faith could break generational cycles of limitation. Dr. Kada has authored books on resilience and delivered TEDx talks, inspiring thousands. Her leadership programs have helped elevate countless Black professionals nationwide by emphasizing both inner healing and outward success. When asked about her secret, she laughs and says, "There's no secret, there's just surrender. Every morning I surrender my plans to something bigger than myself." This is what happens when unwavering faith pairs with strategic action. This is what breakthrough looks like in the face of formidable odds. But resilience isn't just about professional achievement. Sometimes it's about finding joy when joy seems impossible. Dr. Kata shares another powerful narrative centered around intentionally choosing joy even when life delivers repeated challenges. She faced ongoing battles with discouragement, external negativity, and professional obstacles that threatened her peace of mind. Her solution wasn't to wait for circumstances to improve. Instead, she developed daily rituals focused on protecting her mental peace. Affirmations such as, "Joy is not something I wait for," and prioritizing self care routines even during her busiest seasons. "We've been taught," she explains, "that joy is the reward waiting at the finish line. But what if joy is actually the fuel that gets us there? What if we've had it backward all this time?" The outcome? She built emotional resilience that allowed sustained progress toward goals regardless of outside circumstances. After facing burnout from overworking herself, trying to prove her worthiness in male dominated spaces, she shifted focus inward, nurturing her spirit first so she could lead more effectively outwardly. She shared these lessons publicly via social media platforms where followers engaged deeply around themes of perseverance. Her vulnerability sparked online movements, encouraging other Black women leaders to cultivate joy intentionally rather than waiting passively for relief. Let that sink in for a moment. Joy is not something we wait for, it's something we choose daily, hourly, sometimes minute by minute. And then there's the story of a young Black entrepreneur who shares candidly about running her business while pregnant during her third trimester. Physical exhaustion combined with pressure to maintain performance standards amidst personal transformation would challenge anyone's resilience. Her approach? She prioritized spiritual clarity, what she calls leaning into God, and set boundaries at work based on wellness needs instead of external expectations. The result was successfully maintaining business operations while preparing emotionally and physically for motherhood. Her backstory makes this even more powerful. She grew up seeing few examples of entrepreneurial mothers who looked like her. She was determined not only to survive, but to thrive by redefining what strength looks like. She built an engaged digital following by documenting this journey honestly, the highs alongside the lows, and inspired other aspiring entrepreneurs facing life transitions never imagined possible before witnessing her testimony. This brings home a crucial point. Resilience isn't just surviving, it's thriving through life's biggest changes because you trust God's plan. As I reflect on these stories and Joy Brinson's powerful insights, I'm struck by how often we misunderstand what true strength looks like. We've been conditioned to believe that strength means never breaking, never bending, never showing vulnerability. But what if true strength is found in the breaking? What if it's in the moments when we feel most fragile that we discover what we're truly made of? There's a beautiful paradox here. When we acknowledge our weakness, we access a different kind of strength, one that doesn't depend on our own limited resources, but taps into something far greater. I am resilient because I trust God. This simple affirmation that Joy shared has the power to reframe our entire approach to difficulty. It shifts the burden from our shoulders to something, someone much stronger. This isn't about passive resignation, it's about active surrender. There's a world of difference between giving up and giving over. When we anchor ourselves in faith, we don't avoid the storms of life. The winds still blow, the waves still crash, but we're tethered to something immovable. I'm reminded of the scripture that says, we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. This is resilience defined, not the absence of pressure, but the presence of something within us that refuses to be crushed by it. So here's my challenge to you today. What if you approach tomorrow differently? What if, instead of trying to muscle through on your own strength, you anchored yourself in something deeper? What if you allowed yourself to be both soft and strong, vulnerable and resilient? I invite you to take one bold step forward, anchored in faith today. Speak an affirmation over yourself every morning. I am resilient because I trust God. Share one part of your story with someone else who might need encouragement. Choose one area where you've been settling out of fear and commit it fully into God's hands. Because here's the truth that Joy Brinson, Dr. Keita, Joy Ductant, and countless others have discovered. When you anchor your life in faith, you don't just survive the storms. You learn to dance in the rain. You discover that your breaking points become your breakthrough moments. You find that your story, especially the messy, painful parts, becomes a lighthouse guiding others home. The world doesn't need more people pretending to have it all together. The world needs more people brave enough to show their scars and say, this hurt, this broke me, but this is also where I found my strength. Your faith is your anchor. Your resilience is your testimony. Your story is your gift to a world desperate for authenticity. So go from this place today, not just inspired, but transformed, not just motivated, but mobilized, because nothing, absolutely nothing, can destroy what God has chosen to live. And that includes the dreams in your heart, the purpose in your steps, and the resilience in your spirit. The storms will come, but anchored in faith, you will not just survive, you will thrive. You will not just endure, you will overcome. You will not just exist, you will live with the kind of unshakable joy that transforms not just your life, but every life you touch. Thank you